Hello, Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, Lady MeeLing America. I've been known by a few names. I'm still the same person. So I had realized, partially probably because of my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000 and the after effects on that, in regards to the show that was supposed to be called Guardian Assholes, that I found on Craigslist that was supposed to be a voiceover thing, which, irony of ironies in other ways, and that's sort of updating, right? And so the advertisement was supposed to be where it was a cartoon. The way it was described to me was similar to South Park. How South Park would do the cartoon stuff and then the voiceover stuff for the show that was supposed to be called Guardian Assholes. However, apparently the name was changed of the show to something else that I can't remember. And then I was shown well after that it was all live footage instead of the cartoon as it was explained to me that it was supposed to be. And I was told that the only way I could sign the contract was if it was in public, and I wasn't told until last minute, so I didn't have any time to get a lawyer or ask a lawyer for something like that. Which, if I'm not mistaken, if that's illegal, then that would mean that anybody involved, especially when it comes to my Medal of Honor art project, that there'd be those additional legal ramifications against each individual. So, for example, I would not give permission to just anybody to go. That would be why I didn't contact anybody until I was essentially, because of the stuff that occurred in 2018 and CID, or Criminal Investigation Division, also known, as CID, of Joint Base Lewis McChord, telling me to contact the Pentagon. Apparently that's not normal. That, contacting the Pentagon probably is not the most normal thing to be told to do. I realize that now. And then that whole aspect of, obviously I didn't know about anything about hacking or stalking in regards to messing with technology stuff. And so if certain people didn't understand, despite me telling them to their face, unless I specifically refer to you by name, do not mistake anything I post in reference to you. Because there's a lot of things in regards to, for example, from 2008, 2009 when I got into modeling, up until, 2013, because of the stuff that occurred over the years, I had told people to their face that, unless I specifically refer to you, do not make the mistake of thinking that my posts are about you unless I refer to you by name. So maybe there are some YouTube videos that I have done in regards to giving credit where credit is due that would be able to prove something like that. Maybe there's even a post or two that would refer specifically to that. So if there were individuals that didn't want to believe the fact that I cannot tell a lie, back when I knew them in person, here you go. There might be some proof in a few references. And while, yes, in finding the silver lining, I didn't refer to specific people by name because I didn't know that there would be like only one person because I kind of figured, though there were certain multiple situations in regards to finding the silver lining involving multiple individuals in various ways, I didn't think I was the only person who dealt with or could relate to, in reference to people who read it, that, like, for example, PB, psycho bitch. How many people have had a psychotic bitch as an ex? I can't be the only one. I would guesstimate there were a bunch of people before I wrote that book that could be like, yeah, I've known a few psycho bitches, and here are their names. I've known a few, whatever. And give like their own examples that they could relate to. And so, I kind of figured that, like, when writing Finding the Silver Lining, the short book that was the only one book that was published, that was purchased by anybody. And so, if it is illegal to do something like that, especially in regards to denying the ability to have legal representation because of springing that so quickly, but demanding that it be signed in a public area. I mean, I don't know. What are the legal ramifications in that? Would that automatically mean that that would be null and void? Every part of the contract? I think it would. I think it would mean that that was null and void from the get-go. I think so. However, if there was, for example, like Maitresse Renee and Renee's bitch, Jason, although realistically, it probably was the other way around, in my opinion, as far as Maitresse Renee being Jason's bitch. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but I have a feeling. Nonetheless, hypothetically, if Maitresse Renee, because she was the one that I had to explain that the most to, she could not understand that, no, I actually had to tell her in regards to, what was it? There was one, if the shoe fits or something of like that, lace that bitch up and wear it, or whatever that particular Mimi thing was. I was contacted and then something another, and I was like, no, that was because I was dealing with a email that I'd received from a lawyer in regards to my daughter and certain accusations that I was dealing with in regards to the law firm that was representing McCoy Elementary School of Carrollton, Texas, of Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. And that was my way of dealing with that, without actually going into anything further, because I had already put it out there what I was dealing with in regards to what happened to my daughter and in reference to making sure my son was squared away. Not forgetting all the stuff that I was dealing with in other situations. However, for that as an example, Maitresse Renee just didn't seem to let it get through her thick skull that it wasn't about her. At all. Whatsoever. And if she felt that it was about her, that was her own issue to deal with. There were a few other references in that regard where, so for example, and it wasn't the only email that I had received that I was dealing with at that time. Because there were a few, usually you get more than one email at a time, correct? Yes, the answer is yes. That was a rhetorical question. So I had received multiple emails because, again, I was staying online because I needed to, because of the legal stuff that was going on. Anybody that actually has had to deal with a law firm understands you better be ready. You better be ready whenever it comes through. And as soon as you see it, you better respond. Like, as soon as you open that up, you better respond. So, I have a pattern of behavior in that regard. As soon as I see an email and I open it up, I respond. If it requires a response. And so in regards to what I was dealing with at that time, especially, specifically though, from like 2010 to 2012, the amount of ridiculousness that just continued on and on with that. And it's like, what part of I don't have time for that do you not comprehend? Little girl, and she apparently got offended by me calling her little girl. However, the temper tantrums that little girl, because realistically, biologically younger than me, despite the issues with my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, little girl, I don't have time for that. Your drama, I don't have time for. I'm dealing with real life stuff. Big people stuff. People that are outside of like childish garbage. I don't have time for that. I'm dealing with like real things in my real life. Not little girl drama. That high school stuff, not even high school in certain regards. I saw stuff like that. Not in reference to online, but in person, back in like the latter part of elementary school, before middle school, back in New Jersey. I didn't have time for that back then. I damn sure didn't have time for it with what I was dealing with in regards to my children, my son and my daughter. I did not have time for the stuff that she continuously stirred up and brought up over and over. And it's like, what part of that don't you understand? So, while I could be inaccurate and it could be some other association in that regard, either way, the fact that it was sprung on me as far as having to do it this way and and it had to be quick and all that sort of stuff, and everybody else had signed their contracts beforehand, would that in turn make it null and void because of not allowing me to have the time to get a lawyer to look at it? Because I do have a pattern of behavior. It's not like I didn't try to find a lawyer when it came to what was going on with my daughter. Though then again, because of not knowing about hacking and stalking problems, and every individual that I spoke with, if I could get someone to speak with in regards to law firms or advocates or anything of the sort for my daughter, back in 2010, 2011, and 2012, if I had been able to get a lawyer or an advocate that could have actually assisted me and my children, maybe, just maybe, that is an example of the amount of lawyers I would have attempted to contact to look over the last minute, because I wasn't even told that I was going to sign paperwork then. I was told I was just going to meet and then decide from there. It was then put on the table. So, if that is illegal, not forgetting the whole aspects of my medical retirement because of the head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, or if needing a further reference, 100% disability from the VA. technically 70%, but because of the headaches and migraines, it was bumped up to 100%. Is that illegal to target in that way? If so, I hope that there is a law firm that will actually be able to help me. Because, it's not like I haven't been trying all these years. I mean, it's just been since 2009 is when I started emailing, asking for assistance to understand if there was something I was doing wrong. And then also, while maybe not the most intelligent way, in reference to finding a silver lining and finding the silver lining by me, Susan MeeLing. Admittedly, there's legal documents that I put in there that I was given by the law firm for McCoy Elementary School of Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. I did send it into Congress because of the Library of Congress, thinking that that was going to be a way that would get to who it needed to, because I didn't understand the legal stuff, and I had already contacted Ombudsman and the Attorney General for the state of Texas back in 2010. Not forgetting the other whistleblower programs and groups for the state of Texas. Back then, I think, ironically, the Attorney General was who is the governor of the state of Texas now, Governor Abbott. But I had also contacted Congress back then and Senate back then in 2010. Before Senator Cruz became Senator Cruz, by the way. Well, I don't know what year he became senator, actually. I know in 2010, though, that I had an Elizabeth Warren, it was Elizabeth Warren, I think it was, who I had gotten an email response for the senator for the state of Texas, as far as, attempting to help for what was going on in Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District. That's whose office had contacted me back for the state of Texas. Though, because I don't know how senator stuff goes, but I thought there were only 2 senators and only 2 Congress for each state, so that's kind of apparently been a little bit different. Nonetheless, I did try. It's not like I didn't try emailing a whole bunch. I even emailed and faxed to Grace Adler's office in California, and I was told that her law firm didn't help people like me. And the same thing in regards to law firms in New Jersey and New York, saying that they didn't believe me when I told them that there's not the same legal requirements for lawyers in the state of Texas as there are in New Jersey and New York. And they said that no. Nope. That was 2011 and 2012 that I had contacted several law firms out in New Jersey and New York. And I was infuriated at one particular discussion because the female, each one of them, always females, you don't know what you're talking about. Lawyers in New Jersey and lawyers in New York won't work in regards to what goes on in the state of Texas. They're not willing to put their law firm on the line for someone like you. Like, it was just continuous. It was like no matter who I tried to get help from for my daughter and my son, as well as obviously myself being their mom, because what mom doesn't genuinely want to be around her children? And I'm not the only one, because obviously there are dads who want to be around their children. And so no matter who and what I tried repeatedly So in regards to what was supposed to be called guardian assholes, I would have had a lawyer if I could have found one, but I would have at least attempted to. Though I was denied that, so if I'm not mistaken, that would automatically mean null and void in regards to that guardian asshole show. And everybody involved instantaneously, unless they don't feel comfortable relinquishing those rights the way I was forced to. Because I was, in regards to my daughter. I didn't have a choice. Although I know that some people mistakenly thought that I was abandoning. No. I wouldn't have moved to each location and fought as hard as I did to keep my family together if I was in that claim. So, please do